Maayong hapon. Good afternoon. Welcome to our Mindanao Dream. Today's going to be a little bit different video. We're going to have impromptu question and answers from Pearl and myself. Camera's facing me today, right now, so I'm going to be first. To give you a little background for those who are new subscribers, people who want to know and people who don't want to know, going to give a little bit of a background on us. We've been going on, this year is going to be 15 years of marriage. Obviously, we are here now in the Philippines, retired. But leading up to this, before Pearl and I even got married, when we first started talking through Messenger or the internet, basically, we had discussed our wants and desires for our future. And one of the things that brought us together or made us feel compatible was that both of us, our desire was to, in the long run, our end goal was to retire here in the Philippines. Pearl was willing to, I wouldn't say sacrifice, she was willing to come to the States for a specific amount of time. There were, however long time it took, I guess, I don't know, for the end goal for us to be going back. And that was pretty much was the main bedrock that started the foundation of our relationship and our future, which was that, our end goal was to retire in the Philippines, and to achieve that goal, our work ethic, what we did, how we saved, what we spent our time doing together, was all attributed to this final goal. We spent several trips going back. It wasn't like, I came in there in 2006 to meet her. 2007, she came to the States on a fiancé visa. But all during that time, I think it's after the 2007, we came back again in 2010, 2012, 2014, 2017, 2019. That was just the times I went back. Pearl came back a couple other times in addition to that, to be with family for variety of reasons. We worked hard, we saved, we lived in modest conditions, to just leave it at that, so that our end goal, because if we had decided to retire and stay in the States, we would have bought a house, got ourselves, like most people in the US, get yourself burdened with a 15 or 30-year mortgage and 2 cars, a cat and a dog and a white picket fence and all that stuff. But that's not what we wanted. So we saved, we were frugal to a certain extent. Sometimes we were a little too hick, but we knew our end goal was to come here. And luckily, because of our hard work, financially, we were able to, when I turned 62, was able to retire. And then Pearl left in May of 2019 and came back here. And then in July of 2019, I came back here full time. And so it's been almost 3 years for me, and it's been 3 years for Pearl, having been back here. And we're not planning on going back to the States till next year sometime, or 2024. I'm not sure, that's still iffy. So, Pearl's got some questions. Light them up.
Okay, so since this is gonna be our 15th year anniversary, and we've been back both uh, 3 years here, so we've I've gathered questions that might be an interest for people who's planning to do the same. So adjustment here in the Philippines for you as American. So about weather, how long before you get adjusted with the weather?
I'd say I'm still adjusting to the weather. Uh, it's with being like 3 years, I feel that I'm starting to get a little more climatized to the weather. When I first got here in 19, uh, I lost, about 15 pounds just because of the heat and the food. Because in the States, we had a good amount of Filipino food, the rice canton and adobo and afritada, kinilaw. We made our own lechon manok. We made our own pork belly, but we still had the hamburgers. We had the going out to dinner. So I lost quite a bit of weight, which now I have gained back. And as far as we've been nice this year so far, the weather, it's already May and the weather's still staying pretty cool. But we don't use air conditioning here. We do have circulating fans. So
So you're still adjusting.
I'm still
you can say.
adjusting. It's a lot better than it was when I first got here, but
So it's not like it will take months for you to adjust. So
it takes years.
it
and
may be depends upon the person or where you're coming from.
or how young you are.
Yeah.
I'm thinking probably in a couple more years. By the time maybe by the time I've been here for 5 years or so, I'll be more acclimatized to it. And like I said,
So have you gained? Do you feel like you gained back your weight that you wanted?
yes,
So was it hard to adjust with the weather as an American that came from a cooler weather?
I would think so. Other than somebody who lived in Arizona or Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, where you have really warm weather in the summer. Where we lived in Oregon, if you got weather in the 90s or even in triple digits, you got it for only a couple days. Mostly the weather was in the 80s and below, and the humidity wasn't that high. So yeah, I think if I had lived in a more warmer climate in the States, I would have been easier to adapt.
Okay. So the next question, this is about food. So how did you adapt with a type of food here in the Philippines?
I say that was real easy to do because of the fact that we had a lot of Filipino food when we were in the States. You cooked it or I cooked it. We didn't get too much. There's a lot of stuff here that we didn't try over there back in the States. But for the majority, like I said, the afritada, the adobo, kinilaw, chicken joy, those are your main
Pancit.
pancit, bihon.
You're a pancit person.
I am a pancit person over
You don't
bihon.
like bihon.
No.
Okay, so
And as far as like spaghetti, I like the traditional Italian or American style spaghetti. I'm not the Filipino sweet spaghetti type of person. I like regular hot dogs and sausage dogs, not the Filipino dogs.
okay. So what do you like the most about food in the Philippines?
Most I like about the food in the Philippines is it is fresh. You have the open market, some people call it the wet market, where you can get daily, you can get fresh pork, you can get fresh chicken, fresh beef, fresh fish, vegetables, are fresh from farmers' gardens. The only thing I say is that with the vegetables, we have found a couple that I can get lettuce now. We can get broccoli, cauliflower, patatas, but there's still some vegetables here that I'm not really too hot about.
Like eggplant, talong?
Yeah, talong. Not much of a torton talong type of a person.
So what specific dish do you like the most?
Dang. I'd say pork adobo is my favorite.
Okay. Next question is about culture. How did you adapt the culture and tradition? Are you mostly adapted?
I believe so. Culture-wise,
This leads to my next question. What are your likes and dislikes about the culture?
well, let me. Likes about the culture here is a lot different than in the States. For one, as a young teenager, I left home at 16. Here, families in their mid-20s or later still living at home. That they're working and then they're all providing for the income or for subsistence for the family, or helping siblings go on to college or continue their education. That is the culture here. Culture here also is that.
Do you like that or not?
Well, I like it because I don't have, well, Sam, but we don't have any kids that are old enough to kick out of the house yet. And I don't know if Sam's going to want to still be here by the time he's 18 years old. He may be fed up with us. I don't know.
What are your dislikes
What are my dislikes?
about the culture?
I don't know if it's a dislike or it's just an adjustment for me. In the States, when you hire somebody to do a job remodeling, they give you a quote or an estimate, and you pay it, and you pay them so much, 20% down, monthly payments, or at a certain point another payment until it's paid in full. And that's it. Here, you have many different ways of paying. You can do a daily. You can do by Pacquiao, by project, and if you do either way you do it, there's different requirements. Say if you do daily, you're still required here to give them snack, lunch, and afternoon snack. And with the Pacquiao, you just give them snack. I like to go back to States and tell my boss, yeah, I'll come back and work for you, but you gotta buy my snack, and you gotta pay for my lunch, and then plus give me my sweldo. See how that works for you.
Okay.
That's about the only thing I'd say. Other than that,
You can think of?
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of right now.
Okay. About this next question is about people. How do you feel about people here in the Philippines?
How do I feel about people here? They're happy. They always seem to have a smile on their face for the most part, even when they're in the direst of circumstances. We have friends that just had their home demolished for progress, and they have no place to stay, but they're still positive. There are people here that will literally give you the shirt off their back, or the shoes off their feet. You won't find, there may be other countries that you'll find that find that they'll do that, but in the States, for the most part, that doesn't happen. Here, they do.
Okay. Do you think where the area you're at, do you feel warmly welcomed and accepted?
Yes, I do. When I go to Palenque, the vendors that we speak with and do business with, they're very cordial, speaking to us, speaking to me and to Pearl, and I feel that their questions and their concerns for us and their conversations are genuine.
Okay. Do you think, in your opinion and experience, are they hospitable and friendly like most people say it is?
Yes, I do.
You do. Do you have any experience?
Well, one experience off the top of my head is in the Palenque, there's one of the vendors, market lady vendors, Emily, and we go to her monthly to get a lot of our dry goods, mantika, asin, isukar, flour, popcorn, Magic's wrap, some stuff like that.
They talk to you?
And they talk to us. They talk to me. And sometimes Pearl will be over there getting Ijda or with the vendor, or getting Carney, and she'll just say, "Go over to Emily and here's the list. Go get this stuff here," and I'll do that. And she's her workers work with me, and we get what we need, and no problems.
About transportation, how did you adapt the mobility here? The type of transportation here?
I haven't. As
You
far
have
as
not.
my transportation, I love my transportation. The Bongo, not so much. It's the money pit. The Ford, I love it. I wouldn't change.
The type of
what I pick.
transportation people
But
here.
transportation here, the umbak, the tricycle, I still have issues. I still have to bite my tongue, bite my cheek when I'm driving, because of the way they drive. Concerned about the motorcycles that don't have headlights or taillights, and they're driving in the middle of the night, or even at dusk when they're just hard to see. And there they are, boom! Oh shit! Almost hit that one. So yeah, that's about my only issues that I have.
How do you have any likes and dislikes about it? Like the drivers here, the transportation, the transportation here.
No, when we've had to use them, as far as like when we go get the truck to be washed, and we still need to go to the Palenque, or we're going to Gaisano or whatever, and we've taken tricycles before or on back. And as far as the drivers, they're pleasant, they're nice, they take us where we want to go. They don't talk to me so much because I'm a foreigner, but they'll talk to Pearl some, especially when you want to tell them where you want to go. But yeah, I don't have any problem with it. One thing I haven't tried yet, and I want to do is the bicycle. I want to try the bicycle once. Maybe I'll do a video, or we'll do a video with us going somewhere in one of those bicycles.
Do you have any dislikes about drivers here, or transportation wise here?
No, just the driving habits of the ombak and the tricycles.
Okay.
I think that there should be a driver training course that they should have to take.
There is. They just don't
They
think.
just don't take it.
Okay, how about places to go here in the Philippines? What
Oh
are
my.
your inputs about it?
Oh my gosh, there's so many places. Well, just from the videos that we have shown you, the places we've gone just within a couple of hours of our home here. But there's other places that we want to go, Palawan, Boracay, Bohol.
I feel like there's so much to explore.
There's still so much to explore here that, in fact, we're going, for our anniversary, we're going to Bali, and that's in Davao, off of Davao, small island. So that's about 4 hours away.
Okay. So about language barrier.
Huh?
Barrier or barrier? Language barrier.
Depende with your accent.
Do you have any difficulty with this?
Gamay. For me, I think it's important to learn the language, to be able to speak the language, because this is their country. Yes, a lot of them do speak English. Some of them broken. For me, what I gathered, yes, a lot of Filipinos can speak English now, but there are still a lot of Filipinos that can't or don't, especially in the older generation, like Pearl's father. He did not speak English, and for me to communicate with him, I needed to learn to talk to him in his language. And I feel, to me, it's my obligation to be able to learn to communicate with Filipinos in their language. And here in Mindanao and in Bislig, the language that's spoken for the most part is Bisaya. Yeah, Tagalog is the national language,
Okay. But what?
for the most part here we speak Bisaya.
Okay. That leads to my next question. Do you feel hard to learn the language?
Yes, I do. And it's not because the language is difficult so much. There is some difficulty to me to understand, but a lot of it is just my age, that I can't remember. I don't retain like I used to when I was in my 20s and 30s, even into my 40s. You know, Pearl will give me the question, the word for the day. At the end of the day, I forgot what that word was. So, but the hard thing I have is when you speak English, it's grammatically correct for the most part when you're speaking. But in Bisaya, the language is not grammatically correct. You can say a whole sentence in English, and Bisaya, the response is sus. Okay, and that means that's a whole sentence. Means that one word. Also, the flowery words that don't mean anything. It's just there to make it sound better.
Okay.
Okay, that's.
So you feel it's hard?
I feel it's hard.
Sorry.
It's
Yeah,
harder for
especially
me. If I had been younger, I think it'd been a lot easier
Yeah,
for
right.
me. I'm not totally fluent in Bisaya. I'm relatively fluent, but not totally 100%. One of the things I like, though, is that I can understand more Bisaya than I can speak. because of the fact of my memory retention. And Pearl and I will go somewhere, and Pearl will be talking to somebody or to a group of people, and I'll be there with her, and they'll be rattling, and then all of a sudden we'll get ready to go, and then I'll say something to the people in Visaya, and they're like, "Oh, nagasboko, nagasboka." So I think that I like that. I think it's funny that I can
That caught them off
I
guard.
can catch them off guard.
So, do you feel it's important to learn the language, the dialect?
Yes, I do.
Okay. This is general questions. Why did you choose to retire here? What is your best qualification?
Other than the fact that you're Filipina,
Yeah.
my money goes a lot further.
Okay.
I can actually I'm actually able to retire on my Social Security and pension.
Okay. So, what are your pros and cons about retiring here? Think of one word pros.
Exchange rate.
How about cons?
Nasty CRs in the hospitals. No, the CRs. Here sa ato balay mas nindot CR, pero gawas outside other going to a restaurant. If we go someplace, if we're going to
McDonald's in the malls, they have
yeah,
a
mall.
nice CR.
If we're going to a
Public.
resort somewhere, or if we're not sure where we're gonna go, we try and make sure that we've relieved ourselves here at home before we leave, so we don't have to do that in a public CR.
So that's your con.
That's my comment.
It is true. It is true.
It's sad. When we went to the hospital, when Sam was born, you'd think at a hospital, the CRs would be, or in the Filipino States, a bathroom, a restroom, would be sanitary, clean, above anywhere else you go.
Yeah, I don't know, for some reason here in the Philippines, it is not in the whole Philippines, but it's specific departments or public places. They don't prioritize the cleanliness of
The CR.
the CR.
No.
I don't know why. Anyway, that's just observation of your cons. Is it better to retire here in the Philippines than in the US or anywhere else?
I don't know about anywhere else. I'd say yes, it's better to retire here in the Philippines. In the States, I could not have retired. I would had to work even after I retired and got my Social Security. I would have had to have like a part-time job, so I'd still been working. And you're only allowed so much to accrue or to make so much money on Social Security before you have to start paying taxes. So, no.
Okay. Do you have any highs and lows about living here?
Highs and lows. The hot weather can be a low when it gets really hot, like about 35, 36 degrees Celsius. Sometimes even when it's cooler, the humidity is so high that even if it's like in the 70s, you go outside and you start sweating.
It can drain your
It drains your
strength.
yes. It's funny the things that we take for granted that we do before I came here. You know, I could work all day and be fine. Here, we'll work for 4 hours outside, you know, and sweat like a dog. And then we're spent. I mean, the rest of the day, I don't know, maybe it's because of my age or what, but I can't work a 10, 12-hour day and then do something else. Heck, when I was young, I worked a 10, 12-hour day. Then in the evening, go play league softball or league basketball. Not here. I work 4 hours. I'm done.
Totally done. Okay. So, how about your highs?
Highs. The beautiful home that we're able to live in. Like I said in the opening here, that Pearl and I sacrificed comfort to be able to, for the end game, the end goal over here. So now the fact that we have a nice home to live in, we're still in the process of doing some remodeling, but it's nice to be able to have a home.
Okay. So, do you feel safe living here in the Philippines?
For the most part, yeah. I feel safe. This month is the time for elections, and so I probably won't go out too much, but I don't feel any urgency or anything when I'm out in the wherever we go out to the beaches, or if I'm in town or at the bank or anything like that. No,
Okay.
I feel safe.
Okay. Looking back, would you have any regret retiring here?
No, I have no regrets.
Well, one last question for you before you turn it over to me. For those planning to do the same, retiring here and stay here for good, what's the best advice you could give?
And don't take this in a in a bad way or a derogatory. Lower your expectations. Increase paciencia, your patience. You're going to have a lot of patience. Go with the flow. Enjoy life. It's slow paced here. That's another reason why I like it here. It is, especially here. In a bigger cities, it's probably just
More fast-paced.
fast paced. When we go to Davao, which I hate because of the traffic, going through the traffic to get there, and then once you're there, the traffic in Davao, or just so many people, the big city. You know, when we lived in the States, we lived in smaller communities, and coming here to visit is a small community. I'm a country kind of a guy, and so I don't want, and I love the coast. Where we lived before, we lived on the coast.
So you lower your expectations, increase your patience coming here.
Yeah.
What else?
Be happy.
Be happy and enjoy life.
Be happy, enjoy life.
And enjoy the beautiful.
Enjoy the
Views.
beautiful islands.
Okay. This is my moment of truth.
Your moment of truth. First question. Do you miss American food?
Yes, very much.
And-
Number one food that I miss is the pizza there, and Chinese food.
Not Carl's Jr.?
No.
Oh, okay.
Chinese food.
What is the first thing you want to eat when we visit?
Chinese food.
Okay. Not even American food. What's up with that? Okay, 3. What is the adjustment to the weather, the warmer weather, do you feel you've adapted?
I've been in the States for 13 years, and being in the States working The weather there is cold.
Cooler.
As in
Cool.
cold.
Cool.
Anyway, I don't think I've ever adapted there with the weather. But coming back here, I've pretty much well adapted back to the weather. Emotionally, not physically, because I found out that I thought I'm well adapted, but I have allergies with
Tropical.
tropical weather. Oh, that's kind of a strange allergy of all allergies in the world. But yeah, I think the only thing that I think there's one thing that I'm not totally adapted. Like you said, there's so much heat that
Well-
when you're working outside for so many hours, and then you're like even for 3 or 4 hours, you're done. Same with me too. Before I don't have a problem with the warmer weather with the heat. Now, one thing I like also is I can go back wearing like normal clothes here.
No more clothes, she means by shorts and t-shirts.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I don't know so much if it was an allergy or your body was getting used to this warmer weather, because you're not doing the coughing and the stuffiness and stuff anymore.
I think it's seasonal.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when it's cooler weather, like this weather, I don't have a problem with stuffy nose, allergies, and cough, and
Yeah, you need.
yeah. But when it's very, very hot, I think that's when I get allergy. But emotionally, I'm really well adapted. Physically, not
I
so
think,
much.
because I notice in when we sleep at night, whereas I don't normally sleep with obviously no blankets, but with a sheet on me, and now I'll wake up in the morning and you have a sheet
Yeah.
covering yourself because you're cold, whereas I'm not.
Well, it's I don't know, but it was still different when we go to stay in a hotel. That before I don't like air condition, and then you like air condition, so we're kind of sometimes argue with that
Because Charlie likes his air conditioning
And
in the hotel room.
and I don't. But now I don't have complaint anymore if you want to use aircon in the hotel. And so I think now that I'm in the Philippines, I want cooler weather. It was kind of strange. But when I was in the States, it's cooler weather, but I want warmer. Anyway.
How is it for you living in a larger home than we did when we lived in the States?
In the States, most of our half of our marriage
More
life,
than more than half. We're about
More
nine,
than- okay.
9 years.
more than half of our marriage life, maybe about 9 years of our marriage life, we live in a trailer. And that way we can save so much money to be able to save in
Living.
order to retire here, for you to retire here when you get on your age in 62. So that was our goal. So living in a trailer, I don't feel like when we're inside the trailer at that time in the US, I don't feel like we're in the trailer because everything is there.
It was a
Everything you
nice
need.
RV, a fifth wheel RV,
Yeah, it feels like
and
a house.
it was like
home.
a 36 footer.
Yeah, it feels like a house inside. But that's when I realized when I go outside, oh, I'm living in a trailer. But inside, I don't feel like living in a trailer. But the nice thing about it is the low maintenance. With
Easy cleanup.
easy clean. Like I don't have much time cleaning the house that time because we were both busy working. But like it takes 31 hour for me to do the job cleaning the trailer inside. So I like that. But here living in a bigger house. It takes for me just because we don't have any more helper. It takes like maybe half of a day for me, or if you're really deep cleaning, maybe a day or two.
And then she's done.
and then and then I'm totally done.
And then it's palihog, sitar, lakod masahe.
And then
Ah.
I need massage from you. So
Okay.
yeah, that was the nice thing about the nice thing about having a home is you get to enjoy the space
Yeah.
you have in the bigger house, not like and then in a smaller, like we're in the trailer, we're just in one room, we see each other. Here you have to go around the house, find ourselves. So
Okay. If you could live anywhere in the Philippines, where would it be?
I would say I would like to go live in Palawan. It's right there. That's where most people wants to go there. Either Palawan or Boracay.
Okay, last question. I stole this from Tom. If you could live in the States for the same amount of money we do here in the Philippines, would you move back?
That's a hard question. Only if I have to, I would. But if I don't have to, no. I'm staying here where we're at.
Even if we could live on the same amount of money as we do now.
Maybe to go visit, but for permanent, I would stay here. I would still stay here.
Good answer. Your fellow Filipinos would be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Last question, or last question. What would be your best advice to anyone wanting to retire here in the Philippines?
As a Filipino, coming back here, the best advice I could give is unlimited patience.
Pasensya para si Mobana?
Yeah. Unlimited patience, and I always tell Charlie, always lower your expectation. Here in the Philippines, it's not a bad thing to lower your expectation, because anywhere you go, anything bad can happen. Any worst case scenario can happen. So I think anywhere you go, maybe you could lower your expectation in that way. You don't get disappointed, dismayed if things happen bad. And understanding. Don't judge. Don't be judgmental. As I always tell Charlie, don't be judgmental to people, because we're all going through different trials in life. We're all fighting with different trials in life that we don't know what they're going through. So most of the time, they don't do things that you expected them to do. Just don't judge. We're all passing by here in this world, right?
Ooh, that was good.
Yeah, all we can do is be the best of the person we can be.
Be all that you can be.
Yeah.
That sounds like a slogan. I don't know.
No, it's still more fun. It's still more fun here in the Philippines. It is.
It
The
is.
logo here in the Philippines is more fun. It is more fun here in the Philippines than in anywhere else in the world. So for those of you that would like to come back and explore the Philippines, your own country. Okay, so I have few friends in the US that has been retired, and it's just sad for me to know that them being retired and they don't want to come back here in the Philippines to spend their time here in the Philippines because they're well adjusted with the American culture. It's just, for me, it's sad, but it's just maybe the way of life or the way they experience things here in the Philippines. So, but anyway, that's all I can say. Well, like I said, we don't judge. They went through things that we don't know.
Well, I apologize. This is going to be a long video, but we had fun with it. And I
Yeah.
hope that you enjoyed.
I hope that this helps you your decision of what you want to do in life in the future and your retirement life.
Here in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Until next time, from here in the Philippines, Mindanao, Bislig City, Cape Villa, Salamat.
God
God
bless.
bless.
See you next time. Bye bye.